But thank you everyone tonight for coming to our webinar training session where we're going to be the focus on pet carers and pet sitters. And what we're going to do is a little bit of an interview style with lovely Eleanor about experiences and some of the questions that you gave us in advance. So this session is all about a bit of troubleshooting, so you don't have to make the same mistakes. It's really hard if you've not experienced these situations. So we want to be here tonight in a confidential setting to discuss these things that might be a bit icky to be discussed online. So first of all, Eleanor, thank you for coming in tonight. Did you want to give a little bit of an introduction about what you do to everyone? So just in case people haven't met you before.
Yeah, I think there is a few of them that I actually recognise in this means that hello everybody. Yes, I'm Eleanor and I run Sitter for Pets, pet and house sitting services. I've been doing pet sitting for about 18 years and I started my actual business full time in 2012. Yes, I move around all the time. I don't have a house. And like Helen says, I'm currently in the lakes. My dog is at the side of me and she's actually quiet at the moment, but she's a springer door, so anything could happen. So basically,
Oh, if she wants to join in, she can. We won't mind. So yeah, so a little bit about my background. I started my journey as a one-to-one dog walker and a pet sitter. So I did predominantly anxious dogs, anxious cats, pet sitting. So I would do the visit, I would do stopover overnight, or I would do 24 hours. Those are the hardest ones because they're with dogs that have separation anxiety. And we're going to talk about how we can price that, because if you're there all day, well, you're working all day. So really you need to think about an hourly or a day rate to it's your time. And I think the problem is with our industry is a lot of people think that pet sitters, carers, it's a kind of hobby, and this is so untrue because I think they are the unsung heroes of the pet care world because it is such an important role and it offers a lifeline. So the first thing we're going to touch on today, something really important that came up in a meeting last night, was about your privacy. So when you go and do a pet sit, say maybe you're popping in, or maybe you even stopping overnight, how would you feel if there was a camera and if there were cameras in the bathroom and the rooms? So Eleanor, I want you to sort of talk about this situation, and have you come across this situation? And what would you offer as guidance to people who might be a little bit worried about their privacy?
right, this actually did happen to me quite a number of years ago. I was at a pet sit, a lovely pet sit, two golden retrievers, pedigrees, looked after very, very well. And I was only there for about 5 days. And gorgeous house. It had a jacuzzi outside. It had
No
a
idea why this isn't
cellar.
working.
It was beautiful. And about the third day, I let the dogs out in the back garden. It's all secure. Let the dogs out in the back garden, and I just got a pizza out of the oven. And I go into the lounge, and I'm just about to start eating my pizza, and I get a text message saying, "Let me dogs in. It's raining." And I'm like, well, okay. So where are the cameras? And so I texted her, I says, well, it's just spitting and the dogs are perfectly fine. So I let them in and I said, can you let me know how you know that the dogs have just been let out? She went, yeah, I've got a camera on the back decking, right where the jacuzzi is, right where I've been using it. They've got them all over the house. And I don't know if it might just be just me, but I curse a lot at the television if I'm watching it. I tend to walk around basically in my underwear because I feel like I am on my own and I have a right to behave like I would normally. And that's what I was doing. And I found out that they were recording it. An extra thing, it probably doesn't matter, but they had like an 18-year-old boy. I don't know if he had access. I don't know if they were watching it back. I don't know. but it really, really freaked me out because I'd been there 3 days. So during the night, I'd be trying to go back, overthinking, oh, what have I said? What have I done? Have I shouted at the dog? You know, all these things. It was a terrible, terrible situation. I finished the sit and I never went back. They never asked me back, and I wouldn't have gone back anyway. So then that's how my terms and conditions get longer and longer, because then you've got to add something about the cameras. What are you comfortable with? Where should they be? Are you allowed to turn them off? So that was an experience, and I have put some guidance together just before this meeting, so you're all welcome a copy of that. But yeah, having something in your terms and conditions, I wouldn't have them. I don't know if it's legally allowed, but definitely not in bathrooms and not in bedrooms. If they want to have them on and look at the dogs, that's fine. I would suggest that if you're popping out, that then they can have the cameras on to watch the dogs. But if they're trusting you to look after their home and their pets, I don't really see why they need the cameras on, especially if you're in there doing the job that they're paying you to do. So it is a tricky situation to be in. I understand that they want to see that the pets are safe, especially if they've not used a pet sitter before. I mean, we're basically strangers. So I get it from their side, but I also get it from the sitter side, where you feel you're already not in your own home, you're already in a stranger's home, and having a stranger then watch you in their home is, it's a weird feeling, really, yeah.
Really tough one, because I know, like, I've had cameras in the past in my house for my birds, you know, but you know, I would tell someone.
Yeah.
And I think that is the important thing. If they let you know, and then if you say, sorry, I feel uncomfortable with that, and that's,
Yeah.
but I think the legal obligation, correct me if I'm wrong, is they have to inform you, because you're in their property, you're doing a service. I think,
Yeah.
especially if it's a bedroom, because you're getting unchanged, like you said, you know, that's what you normally do. You wouldn't like hide yourself getting changed because no one's there. So yeah, so thank you for that, because that's that question comes up a lot. The next question is quite a sensitive subject. So of course, if we are going to a place, particularly if we're stopping over, we want to feel safe. We want to think about our welfare. So things like, how safe are you if it's, say, a remote location, or if you feel like the environment is not, how I mean by this is if it's not, say, untidy, but unclean, unkept. So they've got a bed set up for you, but it's very dirty. Plates are stacking up. The carpets are just terrible. So again, how would you know this without doing the first visit, and how would you be tactful about it without hurting their feelings, because they might not even know about, you know, and they may find this fine, this is the way they live.
Yeah, it's true. That's happened quite a lot as well. The main one that I just could not understand was a husband and wife, and they were both vets. They had 3 dogs in a 1-bedroom bungalow, and it was the most filthiest house I have ever stayed in.
Yeah.
It was absolutely filthy. The carpets had never been hoovered. There were dust absolutely everywhere. Some of the dogs had actually done a mess in the house. It had not been cleaned up. I mean, it was absolutely disgusting. But after that, I started doing pet meat online, which helped. It was difficult when I went there because I wanted to help, and I've not been going that long, and I was basically taking on any sit that came up just to get a review. And I thought a review from 2 vets would pretty much set me up.
Yeah.
So I went to the pet meet, and it was filthy, and I was there for 3 days. And I remember taking a sleeping bag and sleeping on top of the bed, and basically tiptoeing around the house. They came back and they said I'd done a brilliant job. They're really happy with everything, all the updates and that. They wanted me to go again.
Oh,
and I actually remember sending them a handwritten letter so that they knew I'd really thought about what I wanted to say rather than an email. And I actually said, I'm really sorry, but I feel your house is unclean for me to stay in. Yeah, it was very hard to do, but I did it, and they apologized and said, no, we weren't aware. We're really sorry about that. They offered to clean it and say, we'd love to like help be back, and you can clean it. And I thought, right, okay, that's fine. That sorted that out. That helped.
yeah.
So I went go back, but they barely touched anything. It was basically the same. And I just, the next time they asked, I said, I'm sorry, I'm reducing my clientele, and I can't help you anymore. But
Uh,
Pet Meet Online helps. If you can have a Pet Meet Online and you can speak to them, but try and work behind them if you can, or ask them to show you where to feed the dogs, or where you might be sleeping, or something like that, because then they're likely to pick up the computer or the phone and show you around the house, and then you can at least get some idea. If you see loads of stuff all over the sofa, all over the kitchen worktops, it might just give you an idea of what it might be like at the actual pet meet.
how do you deal with the security side of things? So if, say, you feel unsafe in the house, the area, or maybe it's the remote location, there's no one around, how do you,
Right. Yeah, that happened. I went to a man's house. He was there with a dog, and we had a pet meet. He seemed really, really nice. And when I came to leave, he'd locked the door, and he was just pausing at the door.
oh my God.
And he's like, and I'm like, right, okay, I'll be in contact. I'll send you a quote. Yeah, right, okay, yeah, okay. I just wanted to mention though that while you're here, there are 2 Polish men that live in the garage, and they have access to my house, but I can't trust them to feed my dog and let my dog out. So that's why I'm paying you. But if you turn up and there's a man in the house, he has got access to it, and I've given him permission, so don't worry about it. And I'm like, you are flipping kidding me. There is no way that's happening. It doesn't, I mean, it's not that he's Polish, it's just that's what he said to me. And I'm like, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter that they're not, it voids my insurance. I felt so, I didn't feel comfortable at all. And he was pausing on the handle, and I thought, why don't you just open it? And that's when I saw him turn the key, and I thought, you've locked me in. And it wasn't until afterwards that I felt really, it could have gone pretty bad, really. It could have done it, it didn't. But I share my location with my mum and dad. I do Google Maps and see where I am, see what the location looks like. Tell them when I'm there, and say I should be 30 minutes, 45 minutes at a pet meet, or ring me in 20 minutes, and I'll say whether I'm, there'll be a code or something, or that I can say to my mum and dad so they know where I am.
Good idea. Yeah, I remember I used to always tell Tristan where I was.
Yeah.
Catherine says, do you go quite far afield?
For my pet sitting?
Yeah.
Yes, because I only offer the service now where I stay in the house.
Okay.
So I'm allowed to leave 4 hours a day. That's how I do it. So it really doesn't matter where I go, because I won't be going to pet pop-ins. Traveling to pet pop-ins, when I did them, I'd be like staying at a house, like a normal pet sit, and then I'd be going and checking on the cat, checking on the dog, coming back, sorting out the dog that I'm looking after, then go and do it again. And after a couple of years, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Driving and waiting in traffic. So the pop-ins, I pretty much stopped doing and increased my pet sitting. So that pretty much covered, say, 80% of the money that I've lost from pop-ins, so that I don't run around and I can stay in one place at a time. It's personally better for me,
Yeah.
because you might just sit down, you've got comfortable, you've fed the dog at tea time, and then you've got to get up and go out again to sort out another cat or another dog, and then come back again. And it's okay. I did it for quite a while, but you find, or I did, that I was never settling down, and I was always stuck in traffic, or the road works you weren't expecting, so you might travel half an hour away, so then you're an hour in your car to go and check for 30 minutes on a cat. So then it's an hour and a half of your time for what I was charging, 11 quid back then.
So I like that transparency, because you say I'm at the house 4 hours a day. Yeah, so that's good, because I think a lot of people think that we're in the house 24/7, and there is a service to that. But how would you price that? If someone said, I need you 24/7, you can't leave the house because maybe the dog's got severe extreme separation anxiety. So how would you go about that? That's going to be quite challenging, isn't it?
It is. I've had it quite a few times. There's a gentleman that's just lost his wife. He's thinking of going away. They both worked from home. He still works from home. They've got a staffy, and it never leaves his side, ever. He's there all the time.
Yeah.
So he's saying my dog has never been in the kennels or anything, never been left with anyone. And I want to go away. I would need a sitter there all the time. Now my fees for me staying during the day and night, it's £120 a day that I charge.
Yeah.
So if now he wants me to stay the whole time, I would be like quoting him 160 quid a day.
Yeah.
And I'd restrict it. I've said to him, I will do it for like £160 a day, but I won't stay for any longer than like 5 days. 5 days staying in the house, and you can't leave. You're working all the time, and it's exhausting. I would definitely put your rates up and definitely make it a really short sit. If I had any more 5 days, you'd go stir crazy.
Yeah, when I used to work in social care, we would have to do sleepovers, but we weren't technically working, but you were sleeping, but we still got paid because you're on call. If that's still in the evening or need to go out for a wee, you're still working. And I think people think, oh yeah, we're asleep, we're not working, but it's that commitment, isn't it? 24/7. So yeah, that's good to hear then. So with like the pet visits, what would be your best advice? Say like I'm based in Cheltenham, King's Cheltenham, and I've had a call from a lady who's in Gloucester, and she wants me to look after a cat twice a day. But Gloucester's 7 miles away, but she really wants me to look after a cat. What would you say in a situation like that?
Yeah, so 7 miles, did you say? Yeah, 7. Yeah, I'd probably stay like within a 10-mile radius. Yeah, I would make sure that the charge includes your travel time as well, and mileage on top of that. So I used to charge like 45 pence a mile or something like that. Or what can help is I'd look at the clients that I've got that I do pop-ins for, and I'd check where they all lived, and I'd work out the average of each of my clients and how much traveling I'm doing. So like it might be 5 miles for one client, and it might be 2 miles for another, and 10 miles for another. And I'd total them up and average it out. So it might be like, oh, the average is 8 miles that I travel. So then I'd work out it's like a set fee. Instead of doing miles, so many pence a mile, and doing the calculations and it coming up to like £12 and 36p, I would do an average and say, right, now I know that it's on average 8 miles that I do for a pop-in. Work out a price that I'm happy with for me to actually sit in that car to go 8 miles and go 8 miles back. And then make it like a fee. So it's so much for the travelling, the wear on my car, and all those kind of things. And then the actual visit itself. And then I'd say, right, well, let's say it's £20. So I'd say it's a £20 visit. So on some of them, you might lose because it might not be 8 miles, it might be 10 miles. But on the others, where it's only 3 miles away, you're making up. So over the year, it levels out and it makes it easier for your clients. That it's a set fee, and it's easier for you because you know it's a set fee.
What about like late evening pop-ins, early hours, specific times for medications, or maybe something like Christmas Day? Because I remember one Christmas I worked the whole day and I decided never to do it again. Just because I love Christmas Day, I'm one of those people. But I know some people just aren't bothered about Christmas or bank holidays. But what's your thoughts about that? Should we charge the same or should we charge more?
I charge time and a half on bank holidays,
Yeah.
and I charge double time at Christmas and New Year. And I've definitely worked both Christmas and New Year for a number of years now. It's good money because I'm on double time for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Boxing Day, all double time. So if I've had a week sick at Christmas, I used to just accept any of them because it was good money. Now I will do one or the other. So if someone wants to book me for Christmas, I won't work New Year and vice versa. It's because
Yeah.
although I can go and visit my mum and dad anytime I want during the year, those times are special.
Yeah.
So if I don't see them at Christmas, then I want to make up for it at the New Year. But yeah, it's either time and a half for bank holidays or double for Christmas and Easter. Easter's double.
And what's your thoughts about long-term pet sits? I remember I did a month sit once upon a time, and I found it really hard living in someone else's house for a month. And it was one of those where I couldn't actually leave pets that long either. So I found that I was kind of just in a bubble a bit, and a month was a long, long time for me. And what's your thoughts about that? Can you be picky and say, I would like to just do a couple of days?
Can I just say, wow, well done. A month and not leaving. Oh wow, I don't know why you did that. That's that's a lot.
Yeah, so let's pop to the shop or something, but technically, I couldn't do anything else. It was my life. And I mean, I didn't have my own pets back then, so it was different, but I still have my family and friends that I wanted to see.
No, it's a lot. My sits are usually on average 2 weeks, and I don't usually do any longer than that. So I've had one where it was for 6 weeks for 2 labs, and that's a long time. It's a long time because the house was beautiful, the area was great, the neighbors are great, but you're not in your own house. You're sat on someone else's sofa, and you've got all their family photos around you, and you've got to figure out their television and their Hoover and the washing machine, and this doesn't work, or the microwaves are all different. So you've got all these appliances to figure out, and then the bed might not be that comfortable. The sofa might not be that comfortable. You might be sat on the sofa watching television, and I've said there's quite a few situations that are on here that I already know this, where you sat and you're watching Netflix or whatever, and anybody passing the window would just think, wow, that's great. I mean, some people think, well, it's a brilliant job. You sat on the sofa watching television, you've got a cat on your lap, and wow, and you're getting paid. How amazing is that? Yeah, but you're not at home. So you sat on the sofa, but you're not mentally settling down. You're physically there, but mentally, emotionally, you're like, if it's anything like me, you over everything. You don't quite fully settle. You don't quite fully sleep in their bed because you're not in your bed. The dog might be whining to go out, or you'll hear a noise that you're not used to, or you've got noisy neighbours or something. So I'm always here, just above ground.
Yeah.
And to do it for any longer than like 2-3 weeks, especially when you can't leave, it's mental. So just a second, sorry about that. That's my mum. So it's a lot. If it was like once a year, where it was like 3 weeks and I couldn't leave, I would really, really up my prices, because you've got nothing to lose. I would just say wow, it's this amount, thousands if it was for me. It would be
Yeah.
an extortionate. It'd be more than a holiday.
Yeah.
And then I'd quote them. I'm just going to have to answer this. Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm on a meeting. I'll call you back.
Like my mum, she continues to ring and ring and ring and ring.
Well, I've got it on Do Not Disturb. I don't know what she's done there. So yes, I would just basically say, yes, this is the quote, and it'll be an extortionate quote. And if they're then, and I've done that before, thinking you'll say no, and then I get out of it. But it
Yeah.
didn't, it backfired. They said, oh yes, that's lovely, thank you. And I'm like, oh no, I've got to go and sit there like, 3-4 weeks now. But if it's like a one-off in once a year and it's good money, I probably would do it, but I wouldn't do it for another 10, 11 months. No way.
To go abroad, because I've been asked to go to what was it? Slim or something. Like one of my clients, he goes abroad and basically he rents an Airbnb for him and his partner, and he wants me to come along with one. Yeah, I'm going to do it like that because that's quite unique.
Yeah, it is. No, I've not been. I've not had a sit abroad. When I first started, I think I'd only been going a couple of weeks, and I was on something like Dog Walking Now, and so many platforms when I first started, and I'd pretty much just apply for absolutely anything.
Yeah.
And there was one like that abroad, but then it was like, oh, we need you to get the flights. Can you get the flights, and then we'll pay you back? And it was, and I'm like, no, I am new to this, but there are some like red flags. And I thought, no, I'm not. I am desperate to get into this business and get reviews, and it might be nice to go over there and build my
Yeah.
confidence, try something new. But no, I didn't end up going. I will just stay in England. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a training client, so it's not really pet sitting, but he wants me to go over there. I'd have separate accommodation
Right,
because
right.
it's just so he wants someone to accompany him.
Are you going to go?
I might do. I think it's next year. So it's just,
Oh, but you've got plenty of planning then. You've got plenty of planning time.
he said he'd cover the costs. He said Trish can come as well, but I don't think we could both get away. That's the problem. But but it's a lovely opportunity to go.
It is. It is.
Yeah, I
It's
like.
something definitely to consider.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you just don't know where it'd lead. It could lead to something else and then something else.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So what about so like the initial paperwork and payment? Do you get the payment up front or do you take a deposit? How does that all work? Because I've been stung before where it was more for the pet visit that I didn't take that. This is when I first started and they didn't pay me and I never got the money. It wasn't an awful lot amount, but it worked for me back then, and it's the principle. And someone doesn't pay you and they totally disappeared. Couldn't even find them. It was really, really embarrassing and not nice.
Right. Yeah, I've done a sit before for the week in Sheffield, and I looked at the dogs really well, left the house really clean, and then I used to have like 50% before the sit and 50% after.
Yeah.
And I sent her the invoice for the 50% after, and she refused to pay. She says, "You've left my house an absolute tip." And I said, and explain that to me. What do you mean by that? She says, well, the pillars that are supposed to be on the back of the sofa have fell off, and now they're down the back of the sofa. And I'm like, and what else? Well, that's it. I'm like, right, okay, I'll see you in half an hour. And I grabbed my dad, shoved him in the car, went over to Sheffield, banged on the door. Her husband's a truck driver. He's like 6'6" and 5 foot wide. And he answered the door, and I said, where is she? And he went, she's in the kitchen. So I walked in and I said, you have got nothing to moan about. Your house was cleaner than when you left it. So I'd like my money, please. And when I went to see her, she was like a completely different person. Like, okay. And she gave me the money. And that was that. I left.
Wow.
But it's not a nice situation to be in. So I stopped that now. And I think, right, okay, I want them to pay all up front. So I reduced the deposit to 30% instead of 50%. and that was at the time of the booking. So after I'd been to the pet meet and I was happy with what the house looked like and it wasn't a pigsty,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
when I'd asked for the 30% deposit. And then that guarantees their booking. They feel safe, and I know I've got 30%, which is non-refundable and non-transferable. Big thing. Got caught up with that. So they'd say, well, I can't book here. I have to book it in 6 months. So I'll use that deposit and book in 6 months' time. I'm like, no, you don't. So I changed the terms and conditions again. So 30% non-refundable, non-transferable. And then the rest, 7 days, at least 7 days before you go. In case there's any like delay or they can't get to the bank, you've got 7 days before they leave. And then you've got upfront. And I changed them terms about, I don't know, 6 years ago, and I've not had anybody say anything about it.
so everyone listening tonight, make sure you get that money up front. It's so important. And I think the final question, so when I go on holiday, or I tend to work away, I run a bird rescue. For reference, for everyone who's watching, I have multiple aviaries. So for one person to do that job, it takes a lot of commitment. So I have multiple pets to come in. Now, I know not many people like that because they feel like if it's a job share and maybe they're looking after the same pet, one could come in one day and not do the job adequately, and the other one could get the blame. So I'm going back to I did a shared pet sit for a lovely lady, and she said, "Oh, my son's coming over the one day to do the cat, and I want you to come over the next way." And he hadn't been doing the job properly. So I took photos just to proof that I was doing my job, because I thought, oh, he was on the last day, and I'm thinking, oh dear, that he's going to blame me. So do you have a policy about shared pet sitting? Have you ever had that, or is mine quite a unique situation?
Right, I've actually not come across that before. I've not had a job share with another pet sitter. If that came up, I'd probably just try and get out of it by saying my insurance would be void.
Yeah.
Because if something did happen during the care of the other sitter, then it's like really grey area as who's responsible and who did it and who didn't do it and who was there and what time should you have been there and the dates and everything, and it gets a little bit complicated. So if someone did need another sitter to kind of help out, I would have to refuse that sit, because it's just not worth the hassle, because you can guarantee something will go wrong. But that's a brilliant idea, taking photos to show that you've actually done your bit, and then whatever happens to that other person, that's on them. But that could have been an awkward situation to be in, really. Yeah.
So it only came out with me the one time, and mine's a unique situation, because I got two aviaries outside. The one lady does the one aviary, the one lady does the other, and the one lady does the birds inside. So I suppose different pets, if they were sharing and doing the same one, it would be quite challenging. But it's just because the workload is so much, one person physically couldn't do the aviary.
Yeah,
it's a unique situation. But yeah, I'm very grateful for my pet sitters. They are fantastic.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned this to me before. I mean, it's perfect that you've got these three sitters and they just work really well together, and it just works great. I mean, it could be that, a job share, it doesn't mean it's going to go wrong. I mean, it could be that this other person, you end up actually, collaborating, sharing clients or something like that. So, it can go either way. It's just something to be aware of, that something might go wrong, and mention it in your terms or something, to say that you're not responsible if something happens on that other sitter's visit. So have something in the terms, and this is where the terms now become like pages upon pages upon pages.
No, it's good though, so cover your back though. I used to get embarrassed because I used to write notes to people who come in, and it was like a lifelong story about my birds. I don't do that anymore. We've got a lot simpler now, and that's brilliant actually, because Alison, the lady who comes in, she's got someone she employs, so they come on separate days, and we've got a WhatsApp group, and it's brilliant because I can just put them in there rather than having to message one or the other. But yeah, so to end the session, we'll have we've got 5 minutes for questions. But what is your best advice, maybe for anyone who's maybe starting out, wants to do pet care, pet sitting, or maybe for someone who's struggling right now? What would you say your best advice is?
Wow. Join your group. Basically, I mean, they've got all the resources there and all other people with the brilliant advice and stuff. So yeah, I'd join your group. Join groups, especially yours, Ellen, because I mean, it really is a brilliant place for stuff. I'm always in there. I might not like or comment or something, but it doesn't mean that I'm not in there looking at the post and looking about what's going on. Yeah, reach out to local pet sitters. Sometimes it can be seen like it's a competition, and you don't want to like share your business with someone. You don't want to share the way you do stuff. You don't want to share forms. I was like that when I started, and I'm like, no, these are all mine. I'm not sharing them with you because you'll just go and take them and then take on my clients, or you'll go away and undercut me, and you're offering the better service, but you'll undercut me, and then you'll get these clients. So it's hard to like maybe open up to some people, but then you'll find that you will connect with other sitters, and it's someone to talk to that understands exactly what it's like to be staying in someone's house all the time. Get your terms and conditions in place and cover your own backside. That's a good advice. Yeah.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? If you do, pop them in the chat or just turn off your mic. You can ask anything. This is confidential. It'll only be part of the members' dashboard. It won't be public to anyone, so feel free to ask anything. And if you're feeling shy, you can message us privately via email. You might go away tonight and think, oh, about this question. We had a couple of questions last night, actually. Oh, you must have answered everything.
Okay.
Answered everything.
That's great.
I hope everybody's enjoyed this. Eleanor, if anyone wants to learn more about what you do and your mentoring, could you just end the session and tell us how we can learn more about you?
Yeah, it's on my Facebook page, on my personal Facebook page. And then there's the other thing, I don't know if it's okay to mention it, is about Octopus Moon. I'm creating a register for professional pet sitters, and that's where I want to raise the standards of pet sitting, where we're actually recognised for what we do. Because like Helen said at the beginning, what we do is just an absolutely amazing service. Staying in someone's house, everything that they own, everything, they're paying a mortgage on a massive house, all the belongings are in there, everything that they love is in this home, and we go in and take full care of it. It's a massive responsibility what we do. And yeah, the register is just to gather the sitters that see it like I do, like an amazing service, and have like insurance and pet first aid and things like that, and we come together. And I want to basically tell the world, look, this is what we do, and we do an amazing service, and I'd like us to be more recognised and set some kind of standards in this industry. But yeah, my details are on my personal Facebook page. You can't pretty much miss me because I'm a very loud, blonde, Barnsley accent lass.
We do have a question from Claire. I think I got this right. When you're pet sitting, if you have a team there, do you mean like if they've got someone who lives there, would you do the sit? Claire.
Yeah, sorry, are you wanting me to answer that?
No, I'm just seeing if I've got the question right with Claire.
Yeah.
I think it says if you have a teen there, do you mean like there's a teenager there, maybe their daughter or son? I mean, if you are if they are looking after the pet too. Okay. So if there's someone already there looking after the pet, would you do visits? If someone lives there?
Right, yeah, I've had that across before. Some say, I would say that, I've got a teenager at home, but he's basically bloody useless, and he won't have a clue about the dog that I'm leaving. So they want me to pop in. I personally personally, I wouldn't do it because it's more because of the risk. I mean, you know, when I was younger and you know, I might be a fit lad, I'd be fine. I won't mind going and seeing a nice young gentleman. But if anything happened, or he said something like, "Oh, the pet sitter's been and broken this plate, or they've nicked this, or they've done this," you've got nothing to fall back on. It's their word against yours, and it's just a matter of. It's a shame you have to kind of think that way, but that's how I do it. I've been doing this a long time, and I've had people turn on me that you think that you're getting on so well with them, and they become like friends because you're staying in their bed and watching their telly and everything, and it's a thin line between being like a really, really good friend and a professional sitter. And once that line is crossed, you'll be surprised how quick people turn if they're not getting what they want. So it would be a bit too risky if there's somebody in the home and you're going there and you might not get on with them, or they might accidentally leave the key in the door and you can't get there, so you can't do the pet visit. It's a matter of thinking what could go wrong, or being upfront with the person saying, right, well, I can do it, but this is what I need. Is it possible that the teenager can be out of the house when you're doing the visit? You know, think of things that you would be comfortable with and say, right, I can do it based on this, this, and this, and this. And if the client says, yes, that's fine, I would have something in writing saying, I will do these visits once a day. I'll turn up at this time. This is what's going to happen. And then you've got something up front. And then if something goes wrong, you can say, well, hang on a minute. This is what we said. This is what we agreed on.
Yeah. Yeah, Claire had a bit of a bad experience.
Right.
It is difficult. I've been in houses before where someone's been there, and I didn't have a problem back then. I think I could now, but then saying that, my dad lives the best friend when the pet sitters come in, but he's usually out house. He doesn't bother. But I do make them aware of that. If someone felt uncomfortable with that, I would totally respect that, because as a male, female, and I completely respect that. So yeah, really, really, really good question actually. So
Yeah.
thanks for everyone attending tonight. We'll definitely do another sort of training and Q&A again, because these sessions I think are really important. And it's a safe place, I get all my, where we can just ask questions in a confidential environment rather than putting stuff on Facebook, and it can get a bit icky, can it? So thank you for everyone listening to us tonight, and we will catch up soon. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Bye now. Bye.
Bye.